Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the StudentID podcast. This is our third episode, and we have our second guest. Welcome, Catalina. We look forward to this conversation. And yeah, you're a first BITLASI student as well, so the honor is all yours. Why did you choose BITLASI as studies? Why do you think that particular degree appealed to you?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me here. I'm super excited to have this conversation. And as a BITLASI student, I believe, since it's a new degree, not a lot of people know about it. So I would just start, introducing a bit what is it about. It's basically an intersection between business and humanities, but also technology. And the methodology is, completely different. Mm-hmm. It's project-based, but we don't have, normally lectures, but we are evaluated through, continuous projects, and the schedule constantly changes every week because we have new professors, new topics. It's very flexible in terms of what we see and content-wise. So I like it a lot. We're just in our class 40 students more or less, but the 40 students are from 25 nationalities, so it's quite international, and that's one of my favorite things about it. But the reason why I actually chose this degree, it's a fun story. I applied to the BBA as soon as I graduated.
That's what we wanted to know.
Yeah,
we saw that you did a semester of BBA, but why did you drop?
Yeah, I was perfect. But it's a fun story. So I started with the BBA, applying to ESADE. Mm-hmm. ESADE rejected me, now that I remember, because I didn't finish.
To BBA?
Yes, when I applied first, in the first place, because I didn't do some course in the IB that they required, economics or something. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I was okay, I will study BBA, but in my country. So I stayed in Colombia, and I started studying BBA normally. But for me, I felt the curriculum and everything, it was my father went to the same university, and it's a really good university in the country, but he was seeing the same stuff that I was. He did the same, so it was very traditional.
The program, yeah.
Exactly. And for me, to have a good grades, I had to do specifically what the teacher asked in the same format. And I'm a kind of person that if you tell me, please do this presentation, I'll do a presentation, a video, and I don't know, and a dance. I always go a bit, do it my way. So I felt limited, to say in a way. So yeah, I felt it was very, I don't know, traditional, and I liked the topic, but it was not me. And then ESADE, since they already got me in the database because I applied, they was oh, we are launching this new career, this new program, the BITLASI, and I read it, and I was there's no way this is 100% me, because it was very different tradition, apart from the traditional education system, and the person that they were looking for, because they were looking for a specific profile. They say we need people who have I don't know, growth mindset, who are also passionate about entrepreneurship but sustainability, and have this sensitivity, and then they are able to adapt to new ecosystems, and we're gonna travel and go to Berlin and Shanghai. So I was there's no way this is exactly me in a program. And I was, fun fact, the first one to apply, so they didn't even make the requirements for the people, what they needed.
So you're the BITLASI student 101. It's the numero uno.
Number one, because I love it. Doing business, but in a way that provides an impact, and also the way you learn is you don't learn through, I don't know, you learn by doing, by practicing, by getting out there, trying things, and if it doesn't work, then you try another thing, and that's where the growth mindset kind of comes from. But it's all trying and taking the risk, and I think we all took, in our program, the risk by coming here to ESADE from different countries and trying something new that we didn't know if it was going to work.
Yeah.
Exactly, and it wasn't even an official bachelor when we applied. You didn't graduate with an official degree, you couldn't do a master if you wanted to.
You knew that or not?
We all knew that, but we still, we knew there was a risk that could be the outcome.
I didn't even know that until very recently, but now it's been confirmed as a
bachelor.
Yeah,
exactly.
So don't worry, future BITLASI students. Your future is assured.
It has some trade-offs, because at some point we were management with us was very open to listen to our feedback. So if we did a course and we were maybe this is not working, they actually implemented and changed it for the next year. So we were kind of co-creating this new program, mainly in the first year. So we had a lot of complaints for people from our class, and a lot of people also left. But the people who stayed really helped create the program and make it work. Yeah. Exactly.
So how, what would be your advice for, I don't know, future ESADE students that want to get into ESADE and they're maybe interested in your program, but they're not sure if they should do it or do something else, or maybe even doing your program?
Gel. Yes.
You're in Gel. That's
I'm in Gel, yeah. That's also a relatively new program, yeah.
See.
But, I mean, ESADE is diversifying their general bachelors. So, yeah. But talk about BITLASI. How would you recommend it to someone that's coming from high school?
I think you're the best ambassador.
Yeah, I think that's the problem is I'm a bit biased because I'm actually in love with BITLASI. So
that's good. That's the goal.
Okay, we can see it, we can hear it. I know you.
It's this is not a paid promotion. I'm not here to sponsor.
You should ask for it, please.
No, for me, BITLASI, I think it gives you the tools to become the purpose was to become a leader, and I think they're exceeding in that because what they're teaching us is not only the content, but how to learn. For example, the biggest takeaways I have got from the course are not only maybe the classes or the professors or the people that we meet, because we always have entrepreneurs coming and telling their stories, which is great, and I loved it, but also you get to work a lot with people in groups. Everything is group work. So you have a group since day one, and that's the same group you work with throughout the whole year. So there's a lot of maybe conflicts among the people because there is a very international cohort.
Manage, yeah.
So everyone has their own thoughts, everyone has their own culture. Maybe for me, something that was really hard was punctuality. I'm from Colombia, I mean, punctuality never, but I was with people in the group with Germans and everything. So we
German.
So I and it wasn't in the German, but anyway.
He's German.
You're German. Well, but I arrived early today.
You arrived early.
We're surprised.
I know. I was no.
It was perfect.
But yeah, so there's a lot of things that you learn from working with people and how to manage this conflict that I think BITLASI wanted to highlight that. So we have, for example, coaching sessions. So as a team and individually, you give feedback to your team members, but you also have at the end of a big project, a coach that tells you, oh, maybe you should improve in this. So it's also the soft skills that they're really trying to cultivate and promote. And that's, for me, what's more important. I see my classmates in a presentation and how they present, how they have evolved, how they talk, how they manage themselves. You have seen them grown in a personal way. Not only in their knowledge, but they're actually, growing and becoming leaders. You can see this whole process. So I think that for me is the best. The humanities part is what gives it the strength for me, because you have the business and management, and we have our basic knowledge in finance, not that strong, but it's there somewhere. But you also have that human component of how to manage people, how to learn, how to ask questions, which we have a whole course directed to how to ask questions. So
No, but I think what's really specific and valuable in the BITLASI program is that aspect that the program is everywhere and it's in your everyday life. It's not another bachelor where you just go to classes, learn the material, go to the exam, and sometimes not even go to classes because you're better at revising on your own. And so the BITLASI is with the interaction with the people, with the group project, with all the intangibles, it creates, like you say, it makes your personality grow. It makes you grow as a person and becoming a leader little by little and just becoming more confident in yourself. And so in that aspect, I think it's really, really useful. And GEL is kind of on the same spectrum, not as much, I would say, because we don't have that much capacity to always do our projects on our own. But it's kind of the merger between BBA. I don't know what you think about BBA.
When did your program pop up?
I think I was the third generation. I'm the third generation. So there has been, it was, I think, 2020. Yeah, was the 2021.
Also,
it's super recent as well.
Yeah.
I think mine is 19, I don't know why.
No, yours is...
No.
It goes way back.
We're in wait.
I think my program manager, my program manager, he did the bachelor at ESADE, so it's since creation. But that doesn't make it bad.
No, I know. Like now I'm feeling bad for the people that listen. Like BBA is not bad. Like I would say that bad. It's very broad, very general, and you meet a lot of business people from consulting and practice.
Super passionate about it.
It also yeah, people there. But actually now, like a point for BBA, some people in our class and a lot of things that BITLASI actually are concerned is that they often say, okay, but where is the business? We want to see more business. And yes, we do like business cases and everything, but we also have classes oriented to what you just mentioned about like how to apply it in your daily life. We have one about executive functions, that it was maybe how to, for example, time management. And then your project is about something that you have to do in your daily life to change your way you organize yourself and present it to class. And it's like, okay, yeah, you're applying it to your real life, but then you have people that are, okay, but where's the business? Where's the finance?
I mean, you're always going to have people that are unsatisfied with what's happening.
Wait, but I just remember in first year you told me about an activity that you did. You were planting seeds. No. What was that about?
Oh my god, no! It was
like gardening in their program.
Exactly. So we took the risk, and we came here. We all came from different countries. First day of class, the BITLASI. What is that? Okay, let's see. We go, and then for the first day, like to introduce ourselves, we had to say our relationship with nature and plant a seed in the garden of ESADE. So imagine we were all like, no, I think it died. Like mine didn't even came to life.
I mean,
this is your relationship with nature.
I think it's part of it. Like you can't be an innovator without failing and without doing stuff that may seem a bit weird.
Yeah, exactly.
Out of the box. So some things work. Maybe this didn't work, but it's all like you can't have that and then expect an innovative idea to work.
Exactly, it's all about like adapting and being able to, I don't know, be in situations like getting out of your comfort zone in a sense, but also trusting the process. It's a lot about that because like how they explain it in the program is BBA, you learn every day, for example, marketing, and you progressively learn marketing. In BITLASI, how they do it is like basically everything is connected in the program. So they give you small pieces and you don't understand why you're doing it, but when you see the bigger picture, you can relate everything. When you are in the moment, you have to trust that there's like a bigger purpose of what you are doing. So that's why you have to just enjoy everything and try to learn what can I get from this experience and how can I make the most out of it. And I think that's the mindset that has helped a lot the students throughout these years.
Very good. Yeah, and hopefully by 2025, when you graduate, you will have the bigger picture and the perspective. So we wanted to ask you, what is your plan after this BITLASI program? What is your plan after your bachelor's? Do you think like you can take another risk? What are your views for the future?
Oh, that's a great question. Because I believe like BITLASI gave me the basis like of exploring a lot of different fields. Like every time we have someone from a company to come to our class and give a talk or something, they are working in business, but in the sector that they like. And I think this is something I really highlight from BITLASI because they see business as not only marketing, finance, I don't know, HR, but they see like business as from the startup perspective. You have business, but in a variety of fields that makes you follow your passion. So I think this perspective made me think what I really liked about, which was neuroscience, and that's why I started my podcast. So it's basically the possibility of thinking that you can, even if you're studying business or you're doing something right now, that doesn't limit you to explore different fields or see how you can put yourself in different situations. So I think now it sounds quite like crazy, or I don't know to say that now I am interested in science and all of a sudden I don't know if I'm gonna end up doing a master in, I don't know, genes and epigenetics. I don't know, like from a BITLASI to something like that, maybe. But it's that mindset that there's a lot of possibilities. So right now I'm working in marketing. So I did all this pitch inspirational. I'm working in marketing and I really like it. But yeah, I think I'm in a phase where I'm exploring different things and seeing what I actually like, with the belief that if I like it and I enjoy doing it, then I can find my way.
But from now on, like just right after the degree, are you already thinking of like maybe doing a master? Or you would like to work or?
I would like to start working right away. Like, I really love to work in the startup like ecosystem. There's this venture builder. I was talking with my roommate about this concept, which is basically not consulting, but kind of for startups, that you help startups like build them and give them advice and everything.
Venture capital.
Yeah, like not like a venture capital, but it's like venture builder. Like, it's more like helping build startups for a potential like round of investment, which I think it really encompasses everything that we have been learning throughout the program with startups and innovation and technology. So I like that concept, and I also like people that work. Like, I love people who work in startups because they're very passionate about what they're doing. So I would love to help them. So as an initial plan, I would see myself working in something similar, and maybe in the future, just look into different sectors and potentially maybe having my own startup.
I have a question. Like, aren't you afraid of like the future in terms of like I see that a lot of people are like preoccupied about their CV or like the name of the companies they're working in, and now they have ESADE. So it feels like, from what you're saying, it feels like, okay, you're doing it because of the program that you like, but not even because of ESADE. So it seems like brands and names are not important to you regarding where you want to work or where you want to study. Like, does that impact you? Actually,
I love that question because I never thought about it that way, because I now answering to your question, I think it doesn't matter to me, but I'm not sure if it matters also to the people from my class, because it's all from this like startup mentality. Like, you ask them, I don't know, big companies, and yes, maybe some of them would like to aspire to be there, but I think the majority really prefer to, when they look for a place to work, they're more like looking for how, like, the vision of this company, or the mission of the company, and how they can contribute to it. So it's maybe not just the name or the organization. Like, now we have like a course that is like Journey into Professionalism, where they are teaching us about different career sectors, and you see people in the class, they were preparing us for interviews, and someone raised their hand and they were like, okay, but like, why if I am the one making the interview? That's like the mindset in the class, and I was like, there's no way. You see people in my class, they have different projects. Like, this person I'm talking about that has a project about like Christmas trees, and he has his own business, and he's passionate about Christmas trees. See, Marceau. Hi, Marceau. But
he sells Christmas trees.
See, and then he has a passion about like
Christmas
tree and the vision, and he's like, okay, this is what I'm working on and what I like. And it's not maybe like the sector or a company or a name, but it's more like the purpose and why am I doing this. And yeah, I think it's a different mentality.
I think in that sense, BITLASI is composed of people that are more risk-taking. They're less risk-averse, like in the sense that they go to what falls upon them. Most BBA, they want to have like, I have this vision for myself, I'm going to do this, I'm going to marketing or finance, I'm going to go in investment banking. And you have these big names that are established, so that's why you talk about brand names that are like, these people are successful, and so you're kind of reinventing what success is in the startup world, in the sense that you're just going out, and whatever brand name it is, even if it's a nobody, quote unquote, you can go out and do something great if the mindset is there, if the vision is there. So I feel that kind of mentality with the BITLASI student, and with you, especially when you're saying, I'll just go to whatever doors open for me. But I wanted to bounce back on what you said on the startup that you might want to create. To an extent, your podcast is kind of your first startup or first business. I don't know if you see it as a business or as a hobby, or just something to get out there and do what interests you, which is neuroscience. So yeah, I wanted to ask, how did you start this? How's the journey been so far, and why neuroscience?
Amazing. And I also like a lot how you put it that way, like when you were wrapping everything up, it was very clear, the idea. And I think for me, like, first of all, the podcast, following this idea of being like very like purpose driven, when I started the podcast, it was not I don't see it as a startup or as a project or something, but more of a way for me to learn and like a tool to approach people that I find like really interesting and I want to learn about. So
that's a good trick, actually. That's
yeah,
clever.
so
that's very
I
clever.
actually love it because I wanted to learn about neuroscience, and I had read a lot of books about it, and I spent a lot of time listening to podcasts and to people in the sector. But first of all, like the people in the sector that talks about it are usually like old people from Harvard and everything, which is kind of hard to understand.
Yeah.
So I wanted to see how I could like get that knowledge in a way that was more fun and I don't know, and help other people to also have access to it. And that's why I got the idea, and that was like the purpose behind it. So now if I go on LinkedIn and I see someone that I find like very interesting, I'm like, hey, I have a podcast, can we talk? Or so for me it's also an opportunity. If I go to a networking event and I know there's gonna be people in the sector, then how can I provide value also? And I share this vision. Exactly. So when you share this vision with people, and I think when you do it because of that purpose of not maybe being the best podcast #1 in neuroscience, or like seeing every time the stats or how many people listen to it, like I record it and I do it in a way that I feel like I got like a lot of knowledge out of it, but also if I share it with my friends, I know they will understand. So what I usually do is share it with my like circle of friends, and if they tell me like, oh, I learned this, for me that's enough. I'm like, thank you, that was the mission of the podcast, to share it with people that might be interested in. So yeah, I don't see it as a startup as a whole. I don't have actually a plan, but it's more of, if I see someone and I find it interesting, I will approach and I'll be like, hey, I have this podcast, this is the purpose. And if they also resonate with the purpose, then they're more willing to help, because at the end, I'm not offering anything to them, like not a big audience, not, I'm not paying them, I'm not offering a lot, just
You're
like...
giving them a platform, still. Even if the audience can grow.
Well, yeah, that could be as well. But if there are usually people that are, I don't know, that they already have their career established and they have written books, and for example, the last one I interviewed was a very successful owner of their own BC. They don't gain actually nothing for it. Yeah. But if they resonate with the purpose, like they know what you're doing for, and they see you genuinely like it and have an interest, they're willing to help. So I think that's also the same mentality applied in this way. So if the podcast is successful and maybe someone listens to it after this interview and likes it, that's the purpose, and that's what keeps me going. So
no, I get that. Now you give me the idea. If whenever I want to go for a coffee, I'm just going to take a microphone and be like, we have a lot of things to say. No, literally. Good, but can you tell to our audience what is the name of your podcast and in which language is it?
Yes.
And when did you launch it also?
So I just started it this summer. It's called Con Amor Tu Inconsciente. Well, in English, it's With Love Your Subconscious Mind. Has its own theory behind it.
I really like it.
Thank you.
It's really good.
And well, it was essentially in Spanish because that's my first language, and the people that I started interview were from Colombia. But now that I'm here in Spain and I have like my friends international, they gave me a really wise advice to try it in English. And so I did, and I launched my first episode in English. So yeah, if you want to listen to it, it's about neuroscience and artificial intelligence, which is really interesting. And I think, it provides a lot of value, and that was the purpose.
And how has the journey been so far? Like, like to find people, but also to do the editing. Have you ever done something like that before?
Never.
How do you feel about it?
Never, and that's like the worst part, because I love the part of recording and interviewing and talking, but when it comes to editing, I'm not that skilled. Like I had to watch.
Don't see that.
I'm fairly much in agreement.
Like I watch a lot of tutorials, but I really it takes me like 10 hours. I have to dedicate.
On what do you edit it?
Oh no, there.
How is called your
Audacity.
Audacity.
I use it, and then but the thing is when I work on something, I'm very perfectionist. So every time there's a or a O from the speaker, maybe you can even do it with me now. I cropped it, so it takes me 10 hours to edit.
I mean,
exactly like him.
To a certain extent, you have to leave it, because then it just drives you mad. Because I did it before, and people don't notice. It's okay. It's supposed to be a flowing conversation in any way, so don't be so hard on yourself for that.
Okay, that's a good advice then.
So Con Amor Tu Inconsciente, we'll have the link in the description, of course, and you can reach out to Catalina to talk about the podcast if you hear it, and
Please.
to maybe propose a guest or whatever. So that's great. Do you have any advice, few sentences for people who want to start a podcast?
Yes. For a podcast and for a project as a whole, I feel like this is a very good stage in our life where we're all in, where we can try things and then see if it works, it's fine. If it doesn't, then it didn't work. So I think if you have any project in the back of your head, or if you always wanted to do something but are lacking the motivation to try, I think even if it's not successful at first, or even do it like with the mindset of you're doing it because it's something for you, and then go for it. So I would say, like, even if it's a podcast, whatever idea that you have in mind, go for it and do it for yourself, and there will be even one person that will feel identified with you and inspired because you did it, and hopefully there's one person listening that say, okay, she did a podcast, that maybe I'll try it, and that's how we can start things going. So I think it's a perfect moment in our lives to start, try, fall, and then get back again and see where life takes us.
But just to come back on neuroscience, like, what are the things that got your interest the most? Like, what do you like about it? Or maybe, no, more regarding the learnings that you got through interviewing those people. What caught your attention?
Okay, I think what I like the most about it, it's because it helps you understand a lot about yourself and like, I love psychology in a way. So I remember we once had in BITLASI an opportunity to do a project about anything that we wanted. So you had to put yourself in the position of any person that you choose from any field, everything. And I did it with people that do hypnotherapy, which was
Wow.
yeah.
That's just very specific.
Exactly.
And unknown job, yeah.
And so it was like from hypnosis. So I went there and see what was it about, how people work, and then it interests me everything around the brain, because what they worked with was they took people and they try to change their subconscious beliefs that they had. For example, if you are afraid of talking, then what they do is they do like an induced therapy, to say it that way, where they change your thoughts and see what you have there, what you believe about yourself, and how you can reprogram it. And then because of the plasticity of the brain, or its ability to change, then these people feel that their reality transformed just because their thoughts were transformed. And that was like the basics of hypnotherapy. And then from there, I started to see how the brain worked, how you can make some neural connections, how you think about stuff, and then how it affects and manifests in your reality. So it's the science behind all of that, and that's what caught my attention. But it's like things that goes unconsciously in our brain that we don't think enough about it, but then when we bring it to our awareness, we can change them. And I have been through this process, and that for me is a very interesting topic that I approach in the podcast, and I like to learn about, because I think that they are also changing me as a person and how I perceive my reality.
We have a question.
Please.
I mean, someone else made a question for you.
It's called, we asked a friend of yours to record a question for you, so you and I will discover it together.
Are you ready?
Oh my god, this is so exciting.
And we want you to respond,
Do you have a sentence that you currently use as a motto or philosophy, and which one is it?
I love this question. Okay.
So it was Delphina.
Okay. I even brought the book with me because it's a book about it. But something that I really believe is like enjoying like the small things of life and being in the present. Like right now when we're like seeing the podcast, yes, we're having a conversation, but if you're totally in the moment, you're able to perceive what is going on. For example, I don't know, the lights, and you feel the lights, and you enjoy every moment as possible because you try to live it to the maximum. So sometimes we're really preoccupied about what's going to happen in the future, or if what I'm doing will actually have a repercussion or will be successful. But if you do it just because of the moment or because you enjoy doing something, then you would live your life to the fullest, because you live every moment and you enjoy, even if it's like walking to ESADE. Like that is my favorite part of the day, because I go with the music, I see the kids, I see the flowers. If I see a pretty flower, I will take it and give it to a friend. Like it's like the small things that change everything, and that's how I try to live my everyday life. And thank you, baby, for this question.
I wanted to touch upon something that you just said when you say about living in the present, enjoying the small things. It's all about the mindset you have, and the perception of what you can control is really what matters. So I feel that a lot when you talk, and I actually have a quote myself that I wanted to have your opinion on. It's from Simon Bolivar, which I'm sure you know. For the people who don't know, he's one of the military and political leaders of Gran Colombia who fought for the independence in the 18th century for Colombia, Venezuela, correct me if I'm wrong, and then Ecuador. And so he said, if you do the little things well, the big things work out better. So I thought it was a great...
There's no way. Guys, I swear this was not planned.
Yeah, exactly. So when you say the little things, I really resonate with that. So what do you think about that quote? Would you agree, and what are your insights?
I agree, because I feel like this gave a sense of everything that we have been talking about, the BITLASI program, the project, and everything. If you focus on what you are doing right now, we arrived to this program, we didn't know what was going to happen, but we know what we wanted to learn in that moment and where we wanted to be. And we follow that, and then all of a sudden every day you wake up and you have to take small decisions that are leading you to where you will be at. You have your bigger picture of where you want to be, but also what matters is what you do every day to take you there. And I think there's a lot of value. I don't know if I'm gonna be a neuroscientist, but I will start a project because it's what I can do now, and I will do it in a way that inspires me. So it's focusing on what you can do today that will take you somewhere, but you have the certainty that you're doing your best right now and you're enjoying it to the fullest.
We see you everywhere. Basically, we looked at your LinkedIn. You are in every event, not really from ESADE. How do you? And we saw also that you got an internship in ESADE, last year, I think. So how do you find all these initiatives, and how do you choose among them which is the one you want to go to?
Now that you ask, every time I ask a question, I'm like, wow, this is my favorite question. But the thing is, for me, the first year, something that my father always taught me is to open yourself to different opportunities and try different things. So if there is an event about philosophy, you will see me there learning about philosophy because the opportunity came. But there's pros and cons. I want to be there and do it all and explore everything and learn as much as I can, because for me, I feel like there's a privilege. ESADE, overall, yes, they have a very good program, and whether you are in the BBA, in GEL, BITLASI, everything, you have your core. But apart from that, there's a lot of opportunities that they offer. There are things going on every day. So for me, it was when I realized this, I was like, I can get access to also this part of ESADE, which is some intrinsic value that it's also there. So I started to go to different events, and it kind of built momentum, because when you go to an event and then people see that you're interested or you're curious, then they will most likely invite you to another thing. And that's how I got most of the opportunities of getting to know people, talking to them, asking questions. And then I have, for example, I received a lot in my email also today, someone that I learned in an event, and they were like, oh, maybe this would interest you, and it's another event going on. And then what I try to do from my perspective and my position is to share this with my friends as much as possible. I share it to my group chat, because there will be always people interested. So for me, it's opportunities are there and there are things going on, but it also matters your willingness to learn and to make the most out of your ESADE experience. When you show curiosity and when you show that you have this interest, there's always going to be someone there that would like to help you. That's how I got my internships as well.
So how do you choose when there are so many interesting things? If you're so curious, how do you make your decision? I want to go there, or I'm going there. Is it based on your recommendation, or are you very well organized? Or
I had to work on this, because for me, first year, it was yes to everything. I went to every event, to everything, but obviously, for the, I don't know, it took a lot of time, and I also wanted to keep a balance with my social life and my studies and everything, but still learn. So it was kind of a mess. But we also have these coaching sessions in BITLASI, which they give me an amazing advice, which was, also, it's good to say no when you feel it. So if there's something that I genuinely, because I feel authenticity in everything you do is very important. Like, not just going to an event for the sake of going, but because it actually, you are curious about it. Like, no, not just going to every possible event and see what comes up, but like, if you find something that you think that might interest you and you have the time, then go. If not, then it's also good to say no, but yeah, it's to have that disposition, but to know yourself and know if you're doing it just to be there or you're doing it because you're curious, and that shows in your how you showed up to the event. Like, that influenced everything.
I think that's a great point. In everything that you said, the momentum part, I really resonate with it, because it's by going to an event that you see other people, that will invite you to other events, that will create your network. So I think that's what people forget, is that people want opportunities to fall from the sky, but you have to seek for them. And once you seek for them, it just clicks.
Yeah, exactly. And also, sometimes we arrive to networking events and it's hard to approach, to talk about it, or maybe you might think, okay, what do I have to offer to these people that are here in the networking event? But it's basically, everyone is in the same position. Like, you also have to, from this same line of authenticity, you talk to people because you're genuinely interested in them. You don't have to offer them anything. You don't have to be the best at anything. You just have to be there and say, hey, I'm a student. I came to this event and I saw you and I want to ask these questions. And for that, people really value that, interested in young students.
So are you sometimes asking for help? Like, because you ask questions, but you must be sometimes interested in like having a connection or like a link for a job, or like, so you never ask? Or what is your trick for people wanting to network?
I love it. Okay, now we're gonna go into the tips and tricks. So
embrace the tips and tricks. It's gonna be valuable stuff, I know it already.
If I'm talking to someone, I'm not trying to, the intention behind it is not to get something out of it, but just to ask and show yourself an approach. So I go there and I'm like, hey, do you like the talk? Like, I never start a conversation at a networking event like, hi, I'm from ESADE, where are you from? Because it sets the tone of like, I'm trying to see if you can give something that for me is worth it. That, so it's not also like the mentality of looking for opportunities, it's there, but it's not like, I don't know how to say it, like, people perceive the intention behind it. Exactly. So if you go there and you talk to a person because you seem interested, or you saw the person in a talk and you're like, hey, you said about this and I was wondering, and then you start talking in a personal level, not in a, because what we often do when we go to a networking event is like, hey, so where do you work, or what do you do? And everyone asks them the questions, but there's not a lot of people that come and approach and say, hey, did you like it, or how was your day, or did you enjoy the food, or ask the questions that you would ask to a friend. And that helps you connect with the people, because they also feel like you're not, and you're actually not doing it just because of the opportunity of what they are, but because you care about them and you're open and you treat everyone as equals. Like, you don't go to an event as I'm a student looking for an opportunity, but you go to an event as in everyone here in this room have the same interest, so let's talk about it.
I feel like that fits with the BITLASI mentality of like the human side that you just talked
there.
about before.
Yeah. I mean, people skills, and like you said before, soft skills in general are so useful and so necessary when it comes to networking, because you're not gonna give a job or connect with someone in any type of way if you just put out your hand and say, I'm a third-year bachelor, I graduate next year, do you have a job for me? You know,
yeah.
Like, you have to get to know the person. Yeah. And so what do you think about LinkedIn in that aspect? Because LinkedIn, the main criticism people have is that there's a facade. Like, the people are not really themselves. They try to sell themselves too much. So some people are uncomfortable with that proposition, and others see it as a link to, this is me. And so people approach it in different ways. And you, as being very active on LinkedIn, what is your opinion on that? Have you been able to reach people? Have you been able to see the true side of people in that aspect? Or do you feel like there's still a break and a facade through the platform?
The way I view it is as a portfolio. Like, LinkedIn, everyone will, if you want to connect with someone or you apply to a job, the first thing they will go at is to your LinkedIn. So I think it's valuable not for that to say, no, I'm going to be transparent and not post what I'm doing, but not posting it to show off, but actually posting it because I did this and I'm proud of it and it's my portfolio. So if someone wants to see who I am, they can go to my LinkedIn profile and see what interests me. So I believe when you approach it that way, you can see it if, yeah, people are being fake, people are trying to show it off, but you can also see it from the perspective like, hey, people are doing things they're proud of and they are sharing it. And that's how I view it. Like, that's your personal portfolio. That's my professional portfolio. If you want to ask questions, you can go to a LinkedIn and see there, oh, she was at this event. And it was not, I don't go to the event to say, hey, I am here in the event. No, but it's like, hey, thank you for inviting me to this event. I was here. And it's a portfolio.
I learned something.
Exactly. And if someone wants to go to this event next year, then they can find it and see, oh, she went. She can approach and say, oh, I saw you went to this event. Do you recommend? And that's what usually happens. If I post something, someone might say, I applied there. What advice would you give? So I think it's a very valuable asset, the overall platform, if you manage it through that perspective. If you remove the judgments and you actually congratulate them and you view it from that, I think it's a very good asset.
It's a great point. I think there's a lot of competition in that platform in general, in every platform. Instagram for who has the best life, who has the coolest life. LinkedIn is who has the most professional and who does the most valuable things. And so if you kind of take that approach away and you say, my success isn't a zero-sum game, so my success isn't going to mean your downfall, and we can both succeed at the same time, and encouraging each other and more like congratulating people for what they do, you take that pressure away.
Exactly.
And you just say, well, I can do something and you can do just something just as valuable or something different, and I can support you in that, and mutual support, and we don't have to compete.
And as an exercise, I think if you enter the platform and completely remove that lens from you and you enter with a perspective of, let's see what opportunities are others doing that I can also get it without the competition. Like, it's not, if I see my friend that she's doing this, then I will feel, oh my gosh, she's doing this, then I'm not doing anything. Then for you, that LinkedIn will be a pain. But if you see that she's doing this, then maybe I can also, or there's another event, or she can redirect me. Like, I go there to look for opportunities rather than to see if I'm doing well or not with what I'm doing.
It's not a social ranking.
Yeah, so I think it all depends on how you view it.
I feel like, Keta, you bring your positive vision on everything. Like, literally now I'm reviewing things with your perspective, and that's so cool. And actually, I don't remember what I wanted to say. No, but that's so great. Like, the way that you see things, sometimes you just shift your mind. And I see that usually what scientists say is that the human brain is more negative than positive. Like, the number of thoughts that we have 80% negativity and then only 20 for positive. Do you trick your brain? How do you do to have this such positive mindset on a lot of things? Actually, just going to school is your happiest moment. How do you make your way?
I don't know. Actually, I don't know, because that's okay. This is the first time that I don't know if I can give a specific tip on that, because I believe it's very linked to who I am. You will always see me. You can put me in a state, I don't know, you can take me to the best place of the world and I'll be equally happy that if you put me in the corner of the fusion point. No, the fusion point is great, but it's more of the perspective of finding the beauty in small things. Or if you wake up every day, you can view it as, oh my god, I have to go to school, or you can view it as, I get to drink a coffee while I'm going in the train, and that for me works every time. And that goes links with knowing yourself, knowing what you like, and then doing the activity, but adding what you like to it. So if you go to a gym, for me, it was always a struggle to go to a gym because I didn't like weightlifting, and I'm not very athletic. But then I found out that I love to dance. So when I don't want to go to a gym, I still go, but to a Zumba class of the gym, and I'm going, but I'm loving it. And I have it, but it's just knowing what you like.
We wanted to talk about Colombia a bit, about your home country. And we were making questions about the business environment there and innovation there. And we just wanted to ask if that's something you might be interested in, going back to Colombia, to your country, to have a project there, to interact with people if that's something close to your heart, or in general you don't look for it specifically, but if it happens, you'll take it? What is your view upon that?
I believe I love Colombia. Like, I'm a fan of everything, of the people, but the system overall, like, it's not very updated. Like, the opportunities that we're seeing here, I arrived home and my parents didn't even know what was like ChatGPT or things like that. Like, it's way behind in a lot of things of innovation. So yes, it's a great opportunity to go there and innovate and disrupt, and everything that we're seeing here, just bring it there. But I also believe that there's a barrier, and it's the mindset of the people, because there is like the overall society lives under a well, I don't want to generalize, not everyone, but there's like a very victim mindset of like, we are like this because of the system, and we cannot improve because of the government, and we cannot because of the economy. So every time you try to do something, it's very hard to find that support, because people are not that likely to go and take the risk, but because of the story, the mindset, the values that they have from the families, it's always like, it's very hard to succeed because of, it's a very like victim mindset, to say it that way, but it goes through a lot of generations, like because of the history of the country, because of the macroeconomical context and everything. So I would love to try, but I also feel a bit like I don't know if it will work because of that. I think it has to go through a lot of like changes in the mindset, in the perspective of people, to also adapt changes, innovation, and to be willing to support projects. Because I can come there and say, yeah, I'm gonna innovate in the AI, but then there's
not the infrastructure.
Yeah,
as well.
and there's not the infrastructure, the support, and people are like, okay, but like, why AI if there are people here with a problem of hunger? So there are different priorities, because I think it's a perspective that, even though it's limiting to a sense, it's something a good reminder to have, because now that we're in a like international ecosystem, we talked about a very optimistic future with there's a lot of optimism with my friends, and how technology will be helping us create a better future. But then there's the limitation that not all this technology is able to be adapted everywhere. Like, I think a lot back in my country, and the difference between everything that is going on, and it's not that easy to think about it. So yes, I would love to go and help, but maybe I will try to also like start developing a career here and finding more, like, I don't know, what I like, and then see how I can bring it there, because I also see that gap, that of mentality, that it's not that easy to
pass.
In a potential future, yes, I can come back, but in the near future, I would like to stay a bit and keep learning and keep seeing what I can do in order to have a greater impact once I go back.
Yeah. Is there something specific that you miss about Colombia that you don't have here in Spain or in Europe?
The people. I say this. No. Oigan, the culture. Like,
The people.
No.
The people here are so terrible.
No. The people are great, but I miss something in Colombia that I think, like, if I rechange my message. No, mentira. The main message, I keep it. But a main message that I got from there is like, there, everyone treats like others as they are their best friends. Like, you go in the train and you see someone and you're like, hey, how was your day? Like, you don't know them, but you still feel connected to the people. Or I arrived to a store, and then I used to go, now I'm like, I need to go back to the roots. Because I used to go to a store here in Spain, and I was like, hey, how are you? And the person is like, what do you want? So even if people are open here, it's very different. But I love that sense of being connected to everyone, and to feeling that sense of community. Because it's likely to all of us just be focused on our work and what we have to do right now. But when you see it and you take these spaces, you see that you're connected to everyone, that you live in a community, and that sense is something I really miss, and I really, I don't know.
Do you want to change the culture here in Spain?
Not revolutionize the culture.
Import all the Colombians.
But probably you will see me in ESADE going around the cafeteria like, hey, good morning. Like, that would be me. Or in the train. If I'm sitting next to someone and it's 6 a.m., I'm sorry, I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to be like, I'm going to be like, hey.
But do you think it's still that authentic if you have like that great relationship with everyone?
Well, it's not like a deep relationship because yeah, exactly. A lot of people also question that, like, hey, you talk to everyone but maybe they don't feel it genuine. But I think it's not like connecting or like loving or having everyone, because of course I have my friends, which is like the people that actually connect in a deeper level, but it's showing kindness to everyone and I don't expect anything like in return. Like, it's just and people might seem oh, she say hi, that might seem fake. I don't care, because that was not my intention. My intention was not for you to like me. My intention was actually to say hi. So you keep it there in that like intention of, I don't know, maybe it would work for someone. Someone in the train might say thank you for saying hi, and someone might hate me for it. But it's
You'll
like
never
that's
know
not
until you try.
exactly, that's not the intention I'm going to. Like, I'm not trying to for you to like me or for you to everything. I'm just being like, that's how
I'm just saying hi.
I'm just saying
I love people that say hi like that. They are really unique. They're really fierce.
What I like to do with my friends is, like, when they think of a stereotypical Colombian, they think about me because I love to dance. I love Shakira. I love everything. I'm from the same place of Shakira. I love.
Which is where's she from?
Barranquilla,
Okay.
which is the carnival and everything, the dances. So
Okay.
yeah, very stereotypical, pero that's me.
Do you have a Colombian role model, or just a role model in general? I don't want to generalize it to Colombia. Because you talk about Shakira, and she's the Colombian icon.
Yeah.
And apart from her, there's just associated to sadly Pablo Escobar and other cartel leaders. So thank God for Shakira.
She saved it. But maybe I wouldn't say Shakira because I don't know an answer. But I was I read a book about, like, this is a very, I don't know, stereotypical answer, but I like it where it comes from. And I read the book of Michelle Obama about becoming, and I like about her, like, I would say she's my role model and everything, but I liked about her that she had very clear values and she lived by it, and everything she did was like related to her story, to owning what she believed for. So it was very authentical because she believed something and she reflected. If she believed in education, she would support it. If she was raised this way, she was able to transmit like everything she was. So I think authenticity when it comes to leadership, when it comes to everything, it's very important to me because it's like the whole story of who you are, like where you come from, everything we talked about, like where you come from. You went to a BBA, but then you stopped, and then you were not accepted, and everything. It forms part of like my story, and being able to reflect that story with everything I do, for me, it's like the most important thing.
Well, I love it because I just realized that, I mean, I know you since quite a time, and like those kind of, I mean, sometimes you know things about people but you don't know why they did those choices, and like, it's amazing to have actually the map of your decisions to be like, why does she like, who inspires her, you know. I think we can go on the final question, or is there?
Yeah, go ahead.
So what would you like to share with our ESADE community listening to us right now, as the students community? Or like a final message?
I would like to say as a final message, if you want to live with one mindset, is to take a look around and see first the people that you're surrounded with. I believe like the people in ESADE, they're all full of dreams, of initiatives. There's a lot of opportunities. You guys that are here starting a podcast because you want to interview students, like, it's so beautiful. And when you actually get to know the story behind the people, because it's very international, you learn. Like, I feel like you are going to get a lot of takeaways of meeting new people and understanding their story. So that on one point, like taking a look around, seeing the opportunities that you have right now and how you can make the most out of it. And the second one is being very grateful for the stage of your life where you are right now, where you can explore who you are, what inspires you. You can try new things. I think that's a very great position to be in. And also, ESADE has like a lot of opportunities, which if you are interested, you can do it, and you can always reach out to me. So I hope that's the message they get from this.
Yeah, that's a great message. We want to ask you as a last little favor to write a question for the next guest that we'll interview. And so we'll all discover this question with the next guest.
So you have to close it, and
this
we
is
have
so
to close
cool.
our eyes.
Exactly. Whatever you want to write, the next guest will answer that question.
You can close your eyes, Leopold.
Okay, Alice.
But you have to be dramatic.
I have to be dramatic about it.
It's why we're real sleep, okay?
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay.
I got it.
Very
No, I'm
good.
so
We don't
excited.
forget this.
Guys, it was so amazing. This, like,
Thank
I
you,
love it.
Kata. You know that's such a relief because that is so fun to talk to you. Like literally, you're so open, you're so positive. It's franchement.
Oh, I know. Thank you, guys.
Bravo.
And also, you doing this, I feel like it's a very good initiative. Like, I will be 100% fan of getting to know students and behind it, and you will learn a lot also. So, you applied the thing about the podcast. You're doing it also for
Yes, we're trying to create value for us and for others as well, yeah. But to you listeners, thank you for listening in to this episode with Catalina. We have a favor to ask. If you like this episode, please do share it with a friend and rate us on your podcast platform as well if you can. That would be of great help to us. Follow us on our social media. It's actually not one favor, it's like 5. But
I don't know.
on Transpose Magazine, this has been a pleasure. We won't take any more of your time. Thank you so much. And until next time.
Bravo.
Bye! Amazing.
No, just do the beat. I love how it sounds.
But that should be a signature end of
No,
the
I love it.
It's Alice's signature.
I love it. And you edit everything, like... Well, now I